My name is Meredith Howard, and this is the Alden Family Center podcast, Building Connections. We have decided to do this podcast in hope to foster connections within the community, reach out to community members who provide unique services and valuable opportunities to individuals and families. So today I'm here with Laney Hill from Veterans One Stop Center. We wanted to really focus this podcast on veterans and their families and the resources and community outreach that is available to them. So to start off, I'll let Laney introduce herself and then we'll get into some questions.
Great. So my name is Laney Hill. I am the marketing manager for the Veterans One Stop Center, and I've been with this agency for close to 2 years now, and I just really believe in its mission. And I love what I do. I love being able to do the outreach, to talk to veterans and their families who might not know who we are and how we can help. So glad to be here today.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And what I really liked when I found out about your center, it has such a great component of a family piece to it, and also, a component of community outreach and being able to connect veterans with other veterans and also family members. So I'm excited to hear more about that. I wanted to just kind of get an idea of who your center serves. What's the cost, if there's a cost, and who can get it. So is there specific locations or counties that you serve? So just kind of get an idea of who would be able to get these services.
Sure. So first of all, our headquarters are located on Niagara Street in Buffalo. However, we serve 13 counties now. We just added Seneca County to our Pierce program. And there is absolutely no cost to veterans or their families for our programming. A lot of things, certain services, there are eligibility requirements. But when it comes to like our peer support program, everyone and anyone is welcome. If they're, veterans, there are several events that are for veterans only. Okay. But there are, and that's to really foster, that veteran community, get them to feel comfortable being able to talk with other veterans who can relate and understand what they've been through. Mm-hmm. But we also do several events where it's like a veteran plus one, where they can bring a guest of their choice.
Okay.
And then we've actually really been ramping up within the last few months, that family component you were talking about, where we're doing a lot of, like, just this past weekend, we had an ice skating event, where veterans and their families, and by families, we mean, veterans with young kids.
Okay.
We want those families to be able to get out of the house and spend some quality time together, and they don't have to pay for a thing. They get to do something fun and create some really awesome memories, meet other veteran families, and just continue to grow that community for them. And even for the kids to be able to meet other, kids whose parents are also veterans who have been in the military. That's a very kind of niche childhood. And so for them to be able to even make their own friends at these types of events. And we've done cookie decorating and Halloween parties and just all sorts of fun, engaging types of activities for families to enjoy.
I think that's great because I think, like you said, it's a niche kind of situation, right? Where you have a parent who's a veteran, and sometimes other kids don't understand, but being around kids who understand what your life is like and what you're going through, and being able to connect with them on a social level, doing those fun events like the ice skating and the cookie making, I think makes a huge difference.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So I wanted to also try to understand just a little history about the center itself, like how it got started. Was there a need that you were trying to meet when you developed the center or when the center first started up? And just kind of look at, do you have personal experience with this, or, what drew you to this position?
Sure. So first I'll start with kind of the history of the VOSC. So, um, we have been around for about 11 years. But it first started off as a coalition of independent service providers led by the Western New York Veterans Housing Coalition and Goodwill of Western New York. And they kind of saw that there was a need that was not being addressed, especially for veterans who were trying to transition to civilian life and were encountering many barriers there, especially when it came to like benefits counseling, things like that, and also, isolation issues. So they created the Veterans One Step Center of Western New York. That's what it was called then.
Okay.
And that was created in 2013. But then over the years, as we've grown, like I said, now we're at 13 counties, and that's technically outside of the Western New York sphere. So we actually dropped the Western New York off of our name. So we're just the Veterans One Step Center now because, as we really believe we're going to continue to grow. And so we wanted to kind of foster that knowledge as we continue to talk with new counties about managing some of their programs, and because that's what the Dwyer peer support program is. That's actually a grant that each county receives, and they can do with it, kind of what they will, their own thing. But at the Veterans One Stop Center, we actually, we have agreements with certain counties that we take over that funding and take over that programming. So that peer support program, we have in Erie, Niagara, Steuben, Yates, and Seneca counties.
Oh, wow. So it really is a huge area.
Yes.
Summer.
Yes. We have a peer support manager for those eastern counties who, she kind of oversees all of the events, and the peer support specialists who work out there. But the main component of that is it's not just about the events and, having fun. It's also about creating trust between us and these veterans and their families, because we want to be the ones that they come to when they need help. If they run into financial issues, housing issues, mental health issues, if we can't provide, that's what's really special about VOSC, is if we can't provide exactly what is needed in-house, we refer them out to trusted organizations that we have relationships with. We know them. We know that that's where those needs are going to get met. So it's not like a veteran is ever going to come through our doors and we're going to be like, sorry, can't help you. That won't happen when a veteran comes through the door at VOSC or picks up a phone to call us. We're going to make sure that that need is met. And when it comes to me and, why this is important to me, actually my story is a little bit different, I guess. I didn't go to school for social work. I didn't go to school for, human resources or even marketing, which is my role right now.
Yeah.
I actually ended up having to get a second job at my local VFW when my daughter was going through cancer treatments in order to be able to get us to and from Philadelphia. And within just a month of working there, it was like I was opened up to an entirely new world and culture of people who care and give so much of themselves without asking for anything in return. And seeing so many of these people who were so willing to give to me or be there for me and support me and my family. And they had so many, so many barriers, so many benefits issues, and even housing, financial issues that were not being addressed. And I'm looking at these people and I'm like, how is it that they have to go through this? It's not fair. It's not fair. And so kind of through a twist of fate, I guess, as you could call it, this this job, a role at the Veterans One Sub Center opened, and I kind of just went for it because I just really had such a heart for the veterans and their community when I first started the VFW, and it's just grown since, and really getting to know them and understand them and appreciate them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's incredible because, oftentimes we take twists and turns in our lives and we don't really know where it's going to lead us. And, something, that was probably a very drastic change in your personal life with your daughter, drove you to find this new opportunity and to find a new way to reach out and help people that you didn't even know you wanted to at the time. And, I think also just to go off what you said too, I think it is unfair that, these people who sacrifice their lives and, the families who also make these huge sacrifices, have gaps in services when they come back. I think, and that's why I really like to support the veterans because I feel like, anything we can do, they made such great sacrifices for us, and anything we can do to help support them and, show our appreciation, I think is well worth the time. Absolutely.
That's great. Yeah.
So to move on to our next question here, and you talked a little bit about this earlier, but just talking about what types of programs you have that address the emotional health and well-being of veterans, and also talking about those younger generations of veterans too.
Yep.
We don't always hear about as much.
Sure. So yeah, I talked about our peer support program, but we also have our SSVF program, which is called Supportive Services for Veteran Families. That is our housing assistance program. That is specifically for homelessness prevention or rapid rehousing. So, if a veteran comes in off of the street who, living in their car, they're not going back to living in their car that day. We're getting them in emergency housing right away. And then we have case managers who work so hard to be able to get them into sustainable housing. But we also have what we call wraparound services for these people. So it's not like they're just, we're just saying, okay, here's what you need to do to get into sustainable housing, and then we leave them to it. We are following up with them on a regular basis. We have employment services. We have an employment specialist who can connect them with potential employers, help them write out and figure out how to, because, a military resume is very different than a civilian resume. It's, you may have a veteran who's extremely qualified, probably overqualified for, a specific job. But sometimes you just need someone who's able to help them kind of reword, rephrase. So it's easier for a potential employer to look at them and be like, wow, yeah, this person is exactly what we need. And so we have those employment services. We have the benefits counseling. We have we have like VA healthcare. We have a representative who comes into our office so that veteran doesn't have to travel to the VA.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, so they can get enrolled in healthcare right in our office, understand what their benefits are. We have legal counseling if they need legal counseling. So when I say that wraparound services, it really is that. It's we're doing our best to create a sustainable future for them, and helping them to reach their ultimate potential. And especially with, let me also talk about some of our other programs. It's hard because we're a big agency who we're kind of like we call it, we have things in our tent, like we have different kinds of programs underneath our tent. So we have our SSVF, we have the peer support program, and we also have our Sergeant Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program. Now, this is a really interesting type of grant that we've received because organizations who receive this kind of money can kind of create their own programming with it, how they see fit. Okay. So the ultimate goal is to end suicide for veterans, but organizations can kind of use that money to, I guess, however, suits their needs as an organization and how they best think that it will meet that goal of preventing suicide.
Okay.
So we are not a clinical place. It's, we don't have doctors or psychologists. We can refer out to those things.
Yeah.
But it's all about suicide prevention, and that's a very important component. So how we have chosen to move forward with that is one of our major things is the VOSC Fitness and Health Center.
Oh.
We have a beautiful facility that is, full of brand new equipment, a hydrotherapy chair, a massage chair. We have on-staff personal trainers, and this gym is for veterans only, plus a guest of their choice for free.
Wow.
All of it is for free.
That's huge.
Yes, they can walk through the door. And it's actually right in the back of our facility on Niagara Street.
Okay.
So you can walk in the front door of Niagara Street, hang out and talk to all of us up there in the office, and then walk straight back to the gym and get your workout in, take free weekly fitness classes. We have HIIT classes and, TRX and all sorts of stuff that me personally, thank you. Yeah. For everyone, something for everyone. Yoga,
Yeah, that's more my speed.
Yeah, that's my speed too. But I can definitely say from personal experience, because Jess, I actually did do some personal training with Jess, who's one of our fitness instructors, and she is fantastic. She was actually crowned I believe it's called Miss Buffalo for like a strength training, like weightlifting. Like she's hardcore. She knows what she's doing. And then we also have Jason as well, and he is also extremely knowledgeable. And they create one-on-one training sessions with each veteran who wants to have like they have a goal in mind. If it's either I want to lose weight or I want to get stronger, or we have, and I believe he's maybe 85 or so year old veteran who comes in every single day, and he just does laps around the gym. He gets his boxing gloves on, and he boxes the bags that we have.
Yeah.
And he says it's the best part of his day. He gets out of the house, he gets to socialize, but he's also getting that physical and in turn that emotional well-being boost, because there's so much science and studies that show that intricate connection between both physical and emotional well-being, and how kind of tapping into the physical can really help boost the emotional. So the VOSC Fitness and Health Center is one of the biggest ways that we work to prevent suicide. But also in that same kind of strain is we just started implementing over the last 6 months health and wellness events. So not only do we have our peer support events, but we also have these health and wellness events where we have specialists come in, like acupuncture workshops, stretch therapy, massage therapy, meditation, yoga, healthy cooking. Honestly, the list could go on. Like you have, anything that could help to relieve stress, that could help to just center somebody, who is really struggling with emotional well-being. And we've done retreats before. We've we take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And so this health and well-being component of the VOSC is really starting to grow a lot, and we're really proud of it because leading into that, so it's kind of the last component, I guess, of the VOSC is we just added in this past October a community center right above us on the third level. It kind of just became available, and we jumped at the chance to be able to expand a little bit more. And so we named it the Harry Schultz Community Center, and it is a gorgeous place. I mean, our leadership did a fantastic job with it. It's a place where veterans can go to unwind. You know, we've got video games. We've got there's even an old school Atari up there. Yeah. You know, we've got we've got like ping pong. There's a kitchen up there. There's coffee and snacks and lots of tables and chairs for studying, or, you know, there's computer access if they're in need of that. And right now we've been holding a lot of peer support events up there because it's kind of just the perfect place for people to gather.
Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the harder things when you're planning some sort of support group or something, is to find a common space where people feel comfortable and welcomed. And, you know, just to go back to your wellness component, I think that's really important. You know, just as important as, you know, seeing like a therapist or something. You know, there's this wellness component that can sometimes help just as much and connect you to people and, you know, fill that social gap that some people struggle with when they get out or, you know, come.
Especially at this time of year, because in the winter time, I mean, everyone kind of tends to stick to home.
Yeah.
You know, it's cold out there. It's windy. You know, good old, you know, lake effect just bulldoze us over, all of us. And we're like, oh, another 3 feet. Great. But, you know, it's one of the main things that I say when I talk about what we do. It's really about ending isolation and, you know, getting veterans out of their houses and seeing what there is to see, you know, with us. I mean, we have a lot to offer, and like I said, it's all free.
Yeah, no, that's great, you know, and I appreciate just all the work that goes into that and the planning, and, you know, just to be able to have veterans go to a place where they feel supported, I think is just so important.
We have a great team, and one of our newest hires, his name is Willie. He's a peer support manager. Just came into that role, and he's awesome. He's a veteran himself. He's just a kick butt dude. Like, he's a great coworker, a great friend. You know, he's in his 30s, and he just put on like an axe throwing event.
Oh, wow.
Like we're trying to get a lot more of the younger, you know, veterans out seeing, because, you know, for a lot of the older veterans, they have their VFWs and their Legions, and that's kind of their speed, a little bit more their speed. You're not seeing as many, you know, 34-year-old veterans going to a VFW to hang out, you know, so we're trying to get them to come hang out with us.
Yeah, get them more involved and engaged.
You just did skydiving a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I said no thank you to that one. I'll just look at the pictures.
Oh, yeah,
But they were like, you know, that thrill, chasing that thrill. Nothing face jumping out of the plane. And I was like, good for you.
Yeah. No, I think that's great that you offer those opportunities.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to finish up. If there's anything else you want to add, I think we went over it, and just touch on, we talked on the younger veterans, younger generations of veterans.
You know, what I could touch on a little bit is we really would love to see more women veterans come out to events, get involved in our organization. I mean, there are over 2 million women veterans in the United States. right now, and it's the fastest growing group of veterans. In what some of these statistics show in 2000, the year 2000, women veterans made up only 4% of the veteran population. But by 2040, they're projected to make up close to 20%.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
Yes, a big jump. And women veterans face, the same type of challenges and barriers, but sometimes in a very different way. And that's part of what we want to hone in on, is that there's a multitude of ways, I guess you could say, to go about improving emotional well-being and mental health. And we just want to be a part of it. We want to be a part of lifting these people up, who have given so much to our country, and just giving them some steady ground to start, building back up again.
Yeah, well, that's very admirable of you. And, I agree that is surprising with the women statistic. And do you probably not see a lot of women coming into the center, or?
We actually have been lately with the increase of our health and wellness events.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because, that's just new programs that they're more interested in, that are more willing to.
Yeah, and they're a little bit more, demographically wider, I guess, and we actually had a few women do the skydiving.
For them.
Yeah. Yep. But we are seeing definitely more, like with just that, I think that women might be a little bit more open to discussing emotional well-being and mental health issues.
Yep.
I definitely have seen an improvement, I guess, in the language, and there's still so much taboo around, just the word suicide. And I think that we need to do a better job of making it, not so taboo, that this is still a very relevant issue. I think I have another statistic here about, it's not going to let me get it, but we have, there's so many statistics out there about, I'm pretty sure that suicide is the second leading cause of death in veterans under the age of 40. And still consistently for over 20 years, at least 6,000 veteran suicide deaths per year. That's 6,000 too many.
Yeah.
So, we want to be a part of making that statistic disappear,
Yeah.
For both women and men, of all ages. And so we're trying to see what works with getting certain, ages and demographics out into the community. And it's all about connection. It's all about education, collaboration, and that's what we aim to do.
And I think awareness, I think is great too. Just hearing those statistics, making people aware of like what is actually happening and how can we prevent it and what can we do about it, I think is.
We even have some workshops there at the VOSC for veteran families that's called VA Save. And we have a representative come in and he's fantastic. It sounds kind of like boring, sit down and listen to statistics the whole time. He's a fantastic storyteller, but it's also about recognizing signs, what to do if you do recognize, a sign of suicidal ideation. Because a lot of times if those things happen, you get scared, nervous. What do I do? What do I say? I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to trigger anybody. You don't want to, make things worse is what a lot of families say is, well, I didn't want to make it worse by saying something.
Yeah.
So we regularly host VA Save workshops. So if any listeners are interested in that, you can reach out anytime to the VOSC and we can let you know when the next workshop is coming up, or if there's enough, interest, we can just schedule one right away. So please be aware that is an option. And like I said, we're all about that education too component.
And I'll put all your information about who to contact and about your different resources on our website as well, the Alden Family Center website. I just want to thank you so much for coming in today, Laney. And, I appreciate all the information you shared. And, I just hope it gets us talking about some of these services and some of, the support that we can provide veterans in our community. So
awesome. It was a pleasure to be here. And please do check out the Veterans One Step Center, VOCWNY.org. We are happy to serve you.
Thank you so much.